Well, welcome, Joe. Here we are.
How are you?
Fantastic. So we just had the first episode of Women Getting Visible live stream podcast because of you and your help of creating this podcast to be visible. And right now we're on Facebook, YouTube, and I think another Facebook. I don't
Yeah, I'm just looking now. So it's look how quick that you have just adapted and gone live a second time in 1 second. It's really good. Well done. Congratulations on your first live.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, I thank you for making this happen. Your thoughts on show number 1?
I think it's really, really good. I'm just while I'm sat here now, I am just sharing it to my own timeline, so my friends will see that. Let me come back to the studio. So that's one of the things about being live. Well, you should never work with animal children's and technology, but when you, it is different. I thought the show was great. One of the things about when you're an international speaker, when you're an accredited a person who has worked at such high levels like you have, when you've been a podcaster and a YouTube for so long and you've got your own standing, the journey of transition from doing podcasting into live streaming is different because you don't really know what's going to happen. And sometimes it's a case of press a button a second time. If that doesn't work, press another button. Refresh your studio and things like that. So you have to adapt. But what is good about that, Christina, is that you remain authentic at every stage, and that's what you've created with your first live stream show ever. I thought the ladies were just superb. I think I put a comment in at one point saying that it was just the life journey that the three of them described was the life journey, I think, of every lady have been through. And I think you get to a certain age in life, and I don't think it's like baby boomers and or Gen X and like baby boomers, so 45 to 65. Although that is a very invisible period for human beings generally, when we're all looking for something else. But for ladies especially, that whole issue about menopause and the change, and I don't think we get it. Us men, clearly, we don't get it at all. You know, I complain that I've been through the menopause. It ain't anything. Clearly, it is nothing in comparison. You know, and I see what Jill goes through, and on the back of that being enforced from having breast cancer. And so many things that as blokes we excuse me, we don't really understand. We're afraid to go there because we don't know what position you're in, what the mindset is, the timing, the brain fog, the sleepless nights, the hot flushes. And that's before you take something crazy like tamoxifen for 5 years after breast cancer, or whatever the equivalent is medication is for whatever you've been through, on top of being a lady, on top of that normal thing. So I think they spoke with such authenticity, and I linked a couple of people in. I linked Susie and I linked Jill in. There's a girl in Australia called English girl actually, Kate Hardman, and her husband Chris and their 3 kids have been traveling around Australia on the recent rugby tour. Okay, so he had testicular cancer, she's got terminal breast cancer. And I think that there are 2 sets of ladies in the world. There are those who have been through a particular journey like breast cancer or, ovarian cancer or something like that, and on top of that have got all the ladies things in life. And then there's those others who are just surviving ladies' life. And I don't, and I'm 61 now, and I don't ever think I really appreciate it as much as I do now. Maybe that's why so many ladies gravitate towards me, and I'm working with so many of you now, which is a blessing and a curse in its own right, because I'm second guessing everything. And it's not a bad thing. It's just making me, be a little bit more sensitive to what's going on. But I thought the first show was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think your whole concept of women getting visible is going to go from strength to strength to strength. And I think the way that you genuinely, the way you do, I know we've become friends, so I don't have to say anything that's going to blow you up. But I think the way you do, Christy, is just very, very warm and engaging. And the people who find you, and the people who want to work with you see that as well. And sometimes that's another thing. I think it was Amy said a great point there about, really sort of, we don't see ladies blowing your own trumpet enough. Almost you're having to woman explain yourself away, in so many different ways. So I think it's brilliant to see you do this. I think it's going to be brilliant to see the journey. I wish I could get to the States for October, but I look forward to being able to sort of watch that sort of streamed and to go from strength to strength. So I'm immensely proud of you, Mrs. You've done well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's, a little bit of the as was story when
But
we
yeah,
got to meet, because now that's the as was when I was just at the beginning piece of looking at live streaming. And
yeah,
what did that look like for me? And I met you, and I'm like, I have this in concept that I cannot put to sleep. It's just living and breathing inside of my brain, and it needs to come out because there are so many incredible women who have incredible stories. And it's funny to listen to that visibility because there's always those moments, and talking about an illness and how suddenly everybody wants to just disappear for that moment. And then when it's done, they're like, okay, I'm still here, getting that visibility and that emotional journey that people go through in all weeks of life, and to be able to share so that we do not feel alone on this earth, but
sure.
we can share our stories with others and go, yeah, I get it. Even if I haven't been there, I can share that emotion because my story's not the same, but boy, I want to listen to your story too. And I find
Yeah,
it.
and I think that's what resonates with so many people, Christina. You don't always need those top end ladies who have struggled and to achieve where they are. That's great. That's brilliant. But ordinary people will resonate with ordinary people. Your membership group will grow and grow and grow with ordinary people, backed up by a 1% or a 5% of ladies who have been through something. And that's not decrying either level. What it's saying is that there are millions and millions of ordinary people who have been ladies who have been through that struggle as well. I tell a lot of my men friends as well. I was sitting a couple of really, really good mental health groups for men. That's why men's sheds and things like that. Because men aren't meant to struggle. They're not meant to be through that. I think as human beings, we all struggle, and I think if you're doing this group and somebody else is doing a group, and there's some people who have a group for for mixed, and doesn't matter as long as we're doing something and telling somebody's story, and that whole aspect of as was, as is, will be is powerful. And for people who are watching who don't really understand the concept very quickly, as was is where have you come from? So if it's a business or an organization, what was the inception? Why did you set up? If you're a human being, what's been your journey so far? For Women Getting Visible, it's like I had a family, they're grown up and gone. My partner might have gone now, or me and my partner, I've got, what is it? You girls say the empty nest syndrome, that type of thing. It's like, well, what do I do with my life now? I'm young enough to be able to do things. As part two, where are you now? And it's that realization of, I feel invisible. What can I do? That's my as is. Will be. Find somebody who's going to help you take you from where you are as is into will be in the future. And I think that's what's really exciting. And I think, They're the stories we need to tell. They're the people we need to help to move, to find out what they've done as was and be proud of that. Take those experiences, the qualifications, or the things in the as was that they would love to have done as is now, and what do they need to do to be able to achieve those things to fulfill their life through as was, as is, will be.
And those are absolutely wise words, and they speak to me more often than you know, Joe. And it's incredible to be on this journey. And like I said, from the moment we met is now the as was. Here is the as is. And upcoming that conference is the will be, and just a small part of the will be to be able to share some of these incredible stories. And it blows my mind. It's not even something I can put into words about being able to create this platform for women who, are just at the point where they want to speak and they're ready to tell their stories, or they're still in that place where they're feeling invisible and going, you know what? I can look at these other women and that can be my will be.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that it's important that we reiterate to a lot of those ladies is those who are watching don't have to be visible like we are, like the ladies tonight, like lots of other the speakers and stuff like that you'll have in the future shows. Some of them can be visible just by being there for themselves, yes, to support themselves. And women are very powerful, and I think sometimes they need to tell a story of, to themselves. I find with men that there isn't the same. Trying to think about the words I was going to do to explain this so I don't upset anybody, but there isn't the jealousy or the oft-times pettiness. That sound wrong. It's not meant to. But sometimes when women get together, they're not as, from a man's perspective, they're not as supportive as they should be. But because you're fighting all your life to find your place and to do things in generally a man's world, there's that little bit of against each other, whereas actually there should be the ultimate in supporting each other at whatever level they're at. Does that explain that correctly? That's a man's perspective, and it's not a negative view. It's just actually a realistic view that I've seen, and it's something I don't like to see. So I think that attracting ordinary women who can just feel they're part of a tribe, and that visibility as being part of that tribe, will give them something. They may never be seen on stage. They may never be seen in one of the live stream chat shows, but they will be visible within that tribe, and they might just make one other friend. And you know what? That is visibility to me. Being there for somebody at whatever level that other person is there at that time.
And we speak the same language. Because, that is absolutely one of the other reasons that this is so important to me, because part of me being as visible as I am is to be able to show other people. It's like, hey, if they're not hearing the message, they won't know where to turn. They won't be able to find that community for themselves of somebody who's just reaching out to say, I've got you. I can be there for you. I can listen. And sometimes that's all we need, is just somebody to be there. And that is absolutely part of the visibility.
It is because as a man, if we sense that a woman needs something, we'll jump out of our cave and we'll go and solve the freaking problem. And sometimes you don't want us to solve the problem, or actually you can solve the problem 10 times better than we can. But we jump out of our cave, man the hunter, I'll go and solve the problem for you. You got a problem? It's like my dog Bod. You say, Bod, where is it? And he thinks you want him to go and do something, because he's a boy dog. Of course he does. He's jumping out of his dog cave to go and solve the problem to please you. And sometimes I think you just want us to be there for you, and we're not always that good Sometimes it's just being there to listen to. You'll tell us if you want us to do something, like you tell us when you don't want us to do something.
Again, wise words. Oh, incredible.
I have, at 61, I've learned the hard way in life. I wear the trousers in my house. Gillian tells me what colour they're to be. That is much, much easier to go along with. If only Big Joe Sheppard knew that when he was 21, life probably would an awful lot easier.
Oh, again, more wise words.
Any blokes out there, just listen to that bit there. You may think you wear the trousers, but she will always tell you what colour they're to be. And here's another old story, just because I know your time is precious. There's and it's based on two men, okay? Two men in the west of Ireland, and they're sitting on the porch, and they're just sort of rocking away in the evening, and there's a dog, and the dog's in between them, and he's just lying on the porch, and he's looking, and every couple of minutes he goes, oh, woo, woo, woo. So one looks at the other and doesn't say anything. Goes on for about a couple of hours, and in the end he says, right, Patrick, what is wrong with that mutt of yours? He says there's a nail coming through, and he's lying on the nail, and it's digging into him. And he says, well, why doesn't he move? Because he says it doesn't hurt him enough. And ladies, I think sometimes it doesn't hurt you enough to make you change, because you've been so used to being in the position where you've just had to keep going. When men go off and do our jobs and do our sports and we do this and we do that, you just have to be there. And I think sometimes get off the nail if it's sticking into you, because it's hurting you. Because if you're having a little yelp every now and again, get off the nail, make yourself comfortable, make yourself visible, and do something for you.
Fantastic. And guess what? I'm going to leave it right there. Ladies, that's great advice. Get out and do something for you. Thank you, Joe, for joining me on this follow-up episode of episode 1 of Women Getting Visible. And we'll see more of Joe, because he and I have some fun things planned in the future, which I'll just have to wait.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Let me personally invite you to the Women Getting Visible show and conference October 10th through 12th in Washington, D.C. We'll kick off Friday night with our VIP reception. Saturday, we'll have powerful keynote speakers, incredible workshops, and networking opportunities. After the Back to Me session, you'll walk away with confidence on Sunday. Join us and get your visibility journey energized.